Stormy Simon, your host. I'm a businesswoman, an e-commerce pioneer, an outspoken advocate, and I've often been referred to as a corporate renegade. And our guest today is a corporate renegade on steroids. She's an author, a business mentor, an impressive presidential force in the, get ready, because when you see her, you can be like, what? The trucking world. And she's the founder of Compass Circle, a company which was created to bring awareness and education to women-owned and minority companies in the federal sector. So I should say that again. It brings awareness and education to women-owned and minority companies in the federal sector. That's not easy to do. She is a superhero within the transportation industry. In 2006, she launched a trucking company, and over the next decade, she turned a one-truck operation into a $6 million transportation pipeline. It gives me the chills. This is the best. I love this story.
Thank you.
It's amazing. It's so inspirational. She's fierce, she's fearless, and she's super female. We have a lot to savor on during this lunch today. Let's give a warm welcome to this guest, a woman who already has my heart, Miss Casey Cooper. So cool.
Thank you.
As soon as I heard this story, it's so important.
Yeah,
it's so amazing when you can learn that one person, a start, a dream, a job, a mission, and you take it all the way. So I can't wait to talk about it today.
All the way.
All the way. But I have a couple questions for you. So.
Yes.
Every lunch, we start off with just a couple questions that are super easy, just to learn a little bit about you.
Okay.
So, pickles or popcorn?
Pickles.
Me too. Yeah, do you have a favorite pickle? Pickles or
Dill for the win.
Dill for the win, like the kosher crunchy or the little baby sweet dills?
Oh, the babies.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Aliens or Bigfoot?
Aliens.
Would you be abducted?
Hey, why not? I mean,
Right.
I just got abducted for the last year in the pandemic. We all did. So, I mean.
Yeah. How much more zen? I can go to a better place with
Right?
it. I would totally get on the ship.
I would get on.
Mm-hmm. I would even be probed.
Oh, wow.
I
don't know
would.
about that.
I mean, it's part of getting on the
It
ship.
is. It is.
It is. I
It is.
want to be a part of that science.
Well, you let me know how that turns out.
I will. I'll pick you up. We can go together.
Thank you.
But I'll be like, I'll take the probing. I'll do
Yeah,
it.
give it to her, please.
Yeah. Okay. Aerosmith or the Rolling Stones?
Aerosmith.
Oh, my God. Okay. You'll soon find out I'm addicted to Steven Tyler.
Oh, he has the best lips and teeth.
I know.
I cannot
And he
love it.
still hasn't dated me.
Well, you'll get to it.
It's rough. Okay. If you had one artist, this last question, if you had one artist to listen to, you have to drive from LA coast to New York.
Oh, wow.
You have one artist, you're driving alone, you have to listen to it nonstop. Who is that artist?
Mariah Carey.
Really? That's so, I was just listening to Mariah this
Yeah,
morning.
it would be her. Yeah.
I even listened to her Christmas song this morning.
Oh yeah, she kills it for
It's one of
Christmas.
my favorites.
She's awesome. I
You're
mean,
the first one to say Mariah.
really?
Yeah.
She's an icon.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love Mariah, right?
Yeah. You have to, no matter what.
No matter what.
The original diva. Okay, so now all about you.
All about me.
I heard that you've been an entrepreneur since you were 15.
That is true.
You're now 21.
Right. At 20 more years on
Yeah.
that.
Since you were 15 years
Yeah.
old, what was that business and how did you get started?
So I had a vending machine business. There was this older gentleman, rest in peace to Mr. Patterson, and he lived in my neighborhood. He had like 50 vending machines, and I was friends with his son. And back then I was on my singing journey, so I would be in the studio every day with all my friends. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take these vending machines because we need snacks in here. I went to his house. I knocked on the door. I convinced him, now this is back in like 1995, to let me lease these vending machines for $25 a month. So I had two. He delivered them to the studio for me, and I went to Costco. I filled it up. And the first time I went to go get those dollar bills out of that vending machine, and I was flapping that money, Stormy, but just the thrill of making money, and I didn't have to be there. It was just
Passive income.
surreal. I didn't know I was 15, but I mean, that's how I got started.
Where were you living growing up?
I lived in, I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia, Hampton Roads area. So this was in Norfolk. It was a studio in Norfolk. And I mean, I just
What was the
convinced him to
best
do it.
sellers? back then?
Drinks definitely, because you're in the studio, everybody's thirsty. Snacks, chips, I mean, I couldn't keep it filled enough.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How long did you run it?
Oh God, I want to say about 2 years.
And did you learn anything there that you took into the trucking business?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna work hard. Somebody else is gonna do the heavy lifting. I'm gonna profit off of it. Now I got it wrong, of course, for years before I finally got it right.
Right.
But I mean, you don't have to be present to make money. So that's what I learned at a young age.
That is a powerful skill.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Powerful mindset.
Definitely.
And then how many years, did you do any businesses in between your vending machines and your...
Oh, yeah. When I was about 19, I had a shoe store. It's called Sugar Heels with 2 E's. It was very Miami themed. The lip chairs and the shoe couches is very before its time. Of course, in Virginia, we didn't have anything like that. Right. Eventually, I ran out of money, though, so I had to close down. But it was a hit while it lasted.
And that had to be like a master's education in business, though.
Oh, definitely. I learned that I can't sit in a shop and sell shoes because I'll eat up everything. I gained like 15 pounds. It was crazy.
And a huge closet full of shoes.
A huge closet full of shoes. But it was so fun. I got to go to like all the showrooms in New York, learn how to buy shoes in bulk, what the average, woman's shoe size is, all this, important information that you just...
Well, and retail's fascinating. Retail is fascinating, how you get your customers, how they price.
Absolutely.
Trying to get that order just right, and shoes in so many sizes. It's a
thing. I love the buying aspect because, I mean, I'm a girly girl. I love shoes.
Mm-hmm. And you've got style.
I've got some
You've
style.
got some style.
I've got some style.
You wear it well.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yes.
that.
And then so you did the shoes, vending machine shoes.
And then I went into janitorial franchises. Now, around this time, I'm about 25, so I'm about to get married. And I was like, listen, I need to do something to kind of, beef this up for my family. I'm getting married soon. So I did that. So I was scrubbing toilets, cleaning office buildings, but it was my, franchise. And that went on for a little while. And then I got into the trucks, and it's been all gas, no pun intended, since then.
Okay, so that's it, getting into trucks.
Getting into trucks.
What was the first move? And when I first heard the story, I thought it was semis.
No, I actually started off with dump trucks.
Dump trucks.
Yes. So I had this. My mother was working for the permits and planning department of the municipality.
Oh, that's a good. I wanted to ask what your parents did, if they were entrepreneurial. Or...
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're about to be now because I'm actually setting up their trucking company for them now that they're retired. But I guess we'll get to that, right?
Yes.
But I just had this epiphany one day. My mother used to come home and she used to brag to me about this girl in her office named Tiffany. And she's like, Tiffany's so great. Tiffany's getting a dump truck and Tiffany's doing it, blah, 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 Tiffany. And I was like, I can do that. And so, of course, how the law of attraction works when you focus on something, all of a sudden I start seeing all these woman drivers. Now, we're talking about 2006, so it wasn't as prevalent as it is now, but I would see these women driving, and I was like, I can do that. And I begged my mother. I was like 25. I didn't have a lot of credit, but I begged her to please put this truck in her name for me. The truck was like $80,000.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
They're not cheap. Scraped up my money, put my down payment, and got into the truck. Thought I was going to be a millionaires day one. It totally did not happen that way. But I ended up driving for like...
So you drove the truck and you would get contracted out to sites?
Absolutely.
And they would just pay you a daily rate for you and the truck?
Yeah, you normally get paid for the week. So it's all based off kind of like construction projects. Everybody's local municipality, your state, your federal government, your city government, they have all these jobs going on, you know? So the builders in that area are normally the same companies. If you go look at like Department of Transportation on the website, it's going to list all the jobs around Burbank and what's going on.
Yeah.
So there's not that many people who can actually facilitate a $60 million job. So of course I'm one of the subcontractors, and you just follow the money. You follow all the big boys, and they pay you a weekly check. I think I was making about $3,500 a week back then. So I mean, I'm
fantastic.
25. It wasn't a bad gig. The only issue was I bought a piece of crap my first time out. So I'm making money, but literally every day I'm working, I'm breaking down.
Right.
Yeah. So I think my first year I grossed like $76,000, but $20,000 of that went to repairs.
That is a great first year in any business.
I guess. I mean,
No,
I
it
think
really
so.
is.
Yeah.
People struggle to make money on
Yeah,
their...
they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I would come home dirty all the time, and I'm looking at all these other women drivers like, why are they clean and I'm filthy? But my truck was really a piece of crap. So
Did you learn to work on it?
oh yeah, I would go grease it. I could fix little stuff because you have to
You're a
maintenance.
badass.
I am.
Yes,
I
because
am.
that is a male-dominated
It
industry.
is, but I had to do what I had to do. I mean,
Yeah.
it was in my mother's name, and I think for me, I couldn't let her down.
Right.
Yeah, so I had to. I mean, I eventually gave the truck back because it was just a piece of crap. But I paid the early lease termination fee, and I got another one.
And so how long did it take you to get the second truck, or how did that business grow?
So what ended up happening was I used to park at these, truck lots, and there was a cop. He had like 4 trucks, and he eventually sold me one of his because he would see me out there working. And I think that, when you work and put your best foot forward, people are going to see that, and they're going to help you along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So he gave me a good deal. I bought that truck. I bought another truck. I bought another truck.
How many were in your mom's names?
Just one.
Just
After
the
I had the
first
first
one?
one, all the rest of them were in my name.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I try.
And so how does it get to the $6 million point? How many trucks
Wow.
you running?
So it was kind of like, it was a long journey. So the money was good, but it was very seasonal. So with dump trucks, you're hauling about 19 tons of gravel or soil. So when it rains or it snows, you really can't do anything because it's too heavy to, carry. So at this point, I was getting a divorce. A friend of mine, he goes, why don't you get into tractor trailers? Because, if it rains or snows, you can still work. So I fled to Georgia with my 2 kids and all my winter clothes packed up in my Yukon. And I bought my first tractor for like $6,000. And that's really where the real journey began. Yeah.
So how is that real journey? Do you still do the dump trucks? Or
No,
did
I don't
you
do the dump
pivot?
trucks anymore. I pivoted. We do tractor trailers now. I have about 40 under my tutelage. And that's a big deal.
It's a
I help
big
people
deal.
set
That's
up
a
their
lot of
trucking
inventory.
company. It is. But I've learned to work smarter through like my experience in the federal sector. It's more
what I
about
talked
project
about
management.
too.
Yeah, it's more about project management.
And so was it your mom's job in that area that got your first into the federal sector? Because that's not easy.
She had no
either.
clue what I was doing. I mean, she's like, what? Federal what?
Dump truck.
She has no clue. I mean, even now, I don't think she really gets it completely.
Yeah.
But it's just basically you have, the local, you have the state, and you have federal. So I literally just, I got like 2 contracts out of the gate, maybe like 2 months in. And I mean, really, I just applied, literally. I just applied. I got my woman-owned certification. And literally 2 months later, I got my first contract. 3 weeks after that, I got my second one. And about a year and a half after that, I got a $5.5 million contract.
That's incredible.
It is.
It really is. Like
It is.
that type of story is amazing. And I think what makes it, you looked at the daylight between. Like
Yeah.
you weren't like, my passion is really to run dump trucks.
Yeah.
You thought there's a need. I see it. I'm going to follow that. And then eventually, I'm sure it's leading to your passions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I really have a passion I think for me, because I've had it so hard in trucking. I mean, we're sitting here talking so cavalierly, but trust me, it wasn't like this. I mean, there were
No,
times.
I have questions.
Yeah, I had to pick between the truck note or the mortgage payment. I mean, that's just really what it was. But all of that, I feel like I'm being paid now for all of that hard work. Even just helping people avoid all of the pitfalls that I went through. Because my mentality is so much different. Like, I think as a small business owner, you're like, I got to do this, I got to do that. But you can't be the janitor. You can't be the cashier. You can't be the promoter. You can't
Even
do it
if
all.
you're going to do every job better than everyone else.
You
And I
can't do it
think
all.
that's where you get stuck. It's like, I know I'm going to do that better.
Exactly. So outsourcing for me is like genius. Even now I'm working. I'm sitting here talking to you and I'm working, but all of my partners that I work with, they're working right now and we're servicing our clients, and it allows me to go and do other things so that I'm not bogged down to one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what about, we're there 2006, you're 10 years before the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
And not a victim, but it
No.
is definitely a different world.
Oh, it definitely.
It's 100% a different world
Yeah.
5 years later.
Absolutely.
So how was that? Were you scoffed at? Do you feel like, how many punches did you have to take to get through a door sometimes? Because I don't want that to ever be minimized in what you actually
Yeah.
accomplished, because the federal government thing is no joke.
No.
That's why people don't do it. That's why we're
Yeah.
all not putting in bids for
Exactly.
the federal government, is you will jump through hoops. You're
Yeah.
going to do all kinds of tricks. You better get a pony and a dog for your show. And
You better get a
and you better get your armor on, because
Yeah.
it's already a protected sector where
It already
friends
is.
get
You
in.
must know
and-
about this, Stormy. 'Cause
I've-
you know.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big deal.
It's a big deal. I think for me, I'm not, the most beautiful girl, but I'm certainly not,
Well,
I'm not I'm
right.
one-headed, two-head. I don't have two heads. So for me, I'm so focused on what I want that if anybody made a comment or whatever, I just didn't pay it any mind. I remember one
Right.
year, a friend of mine, he had dump trucks too, and we would be on site working, and we'd be like, okay, it's 12 o'clock, let's go have lunch or whatever. And this particular foreman did not like the idea that, like, I was having lunch with my own friend, and he kicked him off the job, actually.
what?
Yeah, it's a thing, because I guess he was trying to,
Yeah.
put in his bid. But I never paid it any mind. There was another time where I was actually learning to drive, and I went to this house where they used to, like, do mechanics. It was a group of brothers. And I was like, hey, I had on, like, tight jeans and my heels. I'm like, can you guys teach me how to drive? They were like, what? You can't drive. Get out of here. And, I mean, they laughed me off the parking lot.
Right.
But that next weekend, I found somebody to teach me. I had enough forward thinking to already go and get the permit. So I had the permit already. He taught me how to drive that Saturday and that Sunday and that Monday. I was on the road. I had the permit. So if you have the permit, as long as you have a licensed driver, you can drive. So back then, I pay a guy like $75, $65 to ride with me all day. And I was making my money.
Dude,
I mean, hey, listen.
epic.
Epic.
Well, and you do. I think that has to be spoken about. Like, you had to, women who have reached success during certain times of, the decades really did have to take a couple punches in the Me Too world and in male-dominated industries, especially. And it's like we talk now as if we went unscathed.
Yeah.
Wasn't unscathing. I mean, it wasn't victimizing either
Right.
if you had the right mindset, which you absolutely do.
Yeah, I just had to keep going. I mean, I think the piece about my mom kept me, so focused. Because it's one thing to ruin your own credit, but you don't want to ruin, your mother's credit. Like, who wants to do that?
Yeah, she'll hang that over your head forever. Your
Oh,
grandkids.
you must know my mother.
Yeah,
Forever.
every mother.
Forever.
Okay, how old are your children?
13 and 9.
Okay, so you're still in the grind of single. Are you still single?
Well, my boyfriend's right there.
Oh, I couldn't assume.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
That's my boyfriend, but I mean,
Okay.
I'm not married.
Right.
And I'm divorced, so I'm not single. We work very, close together. I have a
Yeah,
nanny.
you don't have to be married anymore.
No, you don't
to
have to be married,
relationships.
but it works out.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is like my new life. This is like my second chapter where everything's great, and
And you're young enough, you have a third chapter.
Oh, definitely.
That's
yeah.
the best.
Definitely.
Well, being a single mom or being a parent
Yeah.
nowadays isn't easy
No.
at all. I'm so glad I went through without the social media with my kids. I can't.
Yeah, it's
I
a
got
thing.
little grandbabies running around.
Do you
like, oh,
really? You look
yeah.
so good. I would have
Thank
never
you.
thought that.
Oh, yeah, I did the single mom thing.
Oh wow,
It's
it's
like the
a thing.
17-year-old single mom.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a thing too. I mean,
Yeah. It worked out well for
Yeah.
me. Yeah, I did all right.
we all go through and we get to the other side. Sometimes we're missing a limb, or sometimes you got a couple
Yeah.
bruises, but you just dust it off and you just go forward.
My mom used to say, everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay now, it's not the end.
That's right.
So I have this little magnet where she got the quote from. But you have a quote that I like, actually.
I do.
Mm-hmm. In an article, spending time alone has been very beneficial to my healing process. I strongly suggest reintroducing yourself to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that from COVID? Our COVID
No,
days?
I went through COVID before COVID hit. My, era of solitude and who the hell am I?
Right.
You don't realize that you're wounded sometimes until you get by yourself, and then you got to heal that girl up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So
a thing.
a friend of mine did a webinar last night about social anxiety.
Yeah.
And that was part of the conversation was, the alternative is being alone. So are you okay alone?
Oh, I
You know,
prefer.
I like alone.
Yeah.
I like quiet.
Yeah.
I like my downtime. And I think it's because I love people so much
Yeah.
that you give and give, and then you're like, oh, I just need 24 hours of downtime.
You have to. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I mean, you have to pour back into your own cup, you know?
Yes, especially as a mom.
Oh, God, yeah.
So your compass circle. Let's
Yes.
talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
I love this. Okay, you should talk about what the compass circle is.
So for me, I would go to all these seminars and all these classes, and I was trying to learn about government contracts. And, you know, it's very detailed, and it's very, you know, they use all these big words and these acronyms.
Checklists.
Yeah.
And tons of forms.
It's like being abducted by an alien, except for I was the only brown girl. You know, most of the men are white, they're older. And so I just show up. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about, but I just smile and go, yeah, okay. And then I leave and Google. And when I kind of landed the first couple contracts, I was like, you know what? I could dummy this down, bring it down to a very, you know, layman's terms, and I could show people, you know, how to do the same thing. And it really just took off, and it took on a life of its own. I mean, it really has.
And who are your clients?
Oh,
Who do
wow.
you bring through?
The average, so my clientele is mostly women, of course, minority women, woman-owned companies. But really, I think it's anybody who kind of dares to, you know, go for it. I would say between 30 and about 45 is where my demographic falls. But they mostly see me online, or they're struggling already in their business, and what I'm saying strikes a chord. Because it's hard out here, you know, to get customers. And I'm like, why are you guys trying to do business one customer at a time when you can go get a 5-year contract?
What kind of contract? What are their businesses that they're doing? If they don't
anything.
have trucks.
Landscaping. I have barbers. Real
Barbers?
estate. Yeah, because, you know, they have these bases where people live on bases.
Yes.
And you can actually hire like 15 barbers to work on that base. In the exchanges, you know, people get their haircuts. The wounded warriors, you know, they need like hair pieces. They do permanent makeup. I mean, hot dogs, hamburgers. I mean, for the federal prisons,
right,
they have to eat. So we don't think about it in normal everyday terms unless you're like a Navy brat or something.
Yeah.
But literally, you know, floral, dog food, soybeans,
all of it.
I mean, they buy it all over the world.
That should be inspiring whoever is listening right now. At least someone out there is thinking, that's me.
That's all of us.
Right.
I mean, most of us are trying to side hustle, or, you know, you want a business, but, you know, the irony is there's more money in the budget than there's actually, you know, people on the planet. So all of us could get a little piece. We just don't know. I think some people are really intimidated by the terminology and all the reading, all the research, because you have to really, you know what you're.
Well, and they're so integrated when you get there. Like, those guys that you spoke about, they already know who to talk, and their business gets a little bit here,
It's very
and you get a little bit there. And it's really ancestral, I think, like throughout it.
It is.
People see something coming, and then their kid starts the business and puts in the bid.
Oh, my God. I can't tell you how many companies I know where the son took over in the 80s, but the company's been going since the 60s, and they've got 3 yachts and 2, you know, beach houses. And you're like, God, like, how do you...
Because their uncle was a senator.
Hello. Hello. Do you want to go there on this show? I mean, it's a thing.
It's true. No, it's an absolute thing. I ran for office in 2020 in Utah, super red state. Grew up there. Yeah, I did.
That's phenomenal.
And it was really interesting.
I'm sure it was.
I encourage people to run for office just to learn the process. You don't necessarily have to want to be there.
Right.
But if you want to be there, you will have to work for it. And work for it means pay money.
Yep.
You've got to be out there. You're going to get your ass kicked. I was in a small district, like all of the things. But you could see this amplified. And the amount of money that we as citizens are putting into our political system in order for it to play out, like we just outlined, is insanity that deserves an awakening.
Yeah, it does.
And I think with... You know, Sean Perriman, who ran in Virginia. I don't know if you know that name. He was running for lieutenant governor.
Oh.
He's an amazing man. He was working for a law firm, you know, just a young gentleman working for a law firm. They took on Trump as a client, and they said, hey, you go do this. First graduate in his family, big-time lawyer. And he goes, I'm not doing that. I'm not
no,
doing
thank
it.
you.
So he ran for office.
Yeah.
He didn't win in the primaries, but meeting people like him, that are now standing for something. You can see the end in sight.
Yeah.
Meeting people like you that are like, hey, everybody, I have a shortcut.
Yeah.
I'm going to break it down for you because it is fair for people to get in.
And it needs to be broken down. I mean, you just to give you case in point, I mean, I'm from Virginia, but I live in Miami also. But I spend most of my time in Miami now. So I don't get into the politics and all that down there. But, you know, even at home when I was learning the whole process, you had to be making $250,000 to even get access to these classes. So if you're a new business owner and you've been in business for 2 years, you're paying taxes on your regular job. And that money's going to these programs, but you don't even qualify to get into the programs. What do you do?
That's right. That's how, when we talk about systemic things, that's part of the unseen systemic portions that have happened.
It
that
is.
Have created the...
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't doing trucks and I wasn't grossing, I'm saying gross. Like, I was making it, but I was spending it. But if I wasn't making it to qualify, I would have never got allowed in those rooms. I would have never... been inspired to go farther. I would have never met certain people along the way that kind of pushed me a little farther. So that's why I do what I do. I mean, if you're making 60, 50,000 your first year, that's a thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing with just by yourself. That's a thing. So that needs to be,
And you know what? You can live off of that.
Yeah, you can.
That is a completely respectable.
Completely.
Can raise your family. People should be proud if they build something that makes $60,000 a year and they employ 4 people and
that's right.
have a good life.
If you can do that, you can definitely go further. So I just think for me, people don't even understand. Like, I can sell trash bags to all the rec centers in this city, and that's a 4 or 5 year contract.
I hope people,
They'll get it.
Someone's out there with, I
They'll
got
get
my
it.
trash bag. They will get it.
I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
And who did inspire you? Who were your mentors along the way? Because you are an absolute inspiration to women.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You never think about yourself like that. You just keep going,
Yep.
My mother really shaped who I am. I mean, she told me one time, she's like, you can do this. And just that one time, my mother's not really the most affectionate, but she just was like, you got this. And I was like, okay, pew. I met another lady, Maria Herbert, along the way. And she just said, you got this. I don't need much. You know what I mean? I just need a little whisper, from somebody that's actually doing it. Because Maria, she does it on a very, very high level. And she just was like, you got this. I was so respectful of her time. I didn't want to like how people do me, bombarding me all the time. So I would say, Maria, can you just tell me what is section L about? And she'd say, blah, 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 blah. And I say, okay, and hang up.
Yep.
I really got this out of the mud. So she's been, a wonderful reference point, but I would have to say about 95% is all me. Like, it's just my drive. I mean,
yeah, it's a hustle. You either have it
or you don't.
Or you don't.
Yeah.
Right. Do you, what are you thinking? Did you ever set, here's what I wanted to say, because people set these goals. We talked about having 50 or 60,000. That's a good goal. Then you say it comes more. You do. But if you set that goal for 10 million, you're like, I'm going to do 10 million on day one. That's a really hard goal. So I think your success, it sounded like, you definitely did your hustle, but you pivoted.
I did.
You moved. You didn't get too attached to your inventory, not to your shoes, not to your trucks. And that's a really important thing as entrepreneurs get attached to their idea. And you're so focused on the $10 million idea that it may have turned into a $100,000 idea, and your $10 million pivot was this way.
Yeah. I don't waste a lot of time in anything. If it's not working.
Oh, I read something else where you fail forward.
Oh, all the time.
Beautiful.
All the time. It's all been one. I used to feel bad about it. Things didn't work out, or I had it so hard. But when you're here now and you're sitting in this seat and you look back, it's like, wow, I really had it, rough. And I mean, you just.
And grateful for those.
Yeah.
For the stumbles,
now I am.
right?
I wasn't then. Oh my God. I was like, are you kidding? I mean, my mother was like, just quit. You're working so hard. Her and my father were like begging me, like, baby, just stop. And I was like, what? Get out of my face. Psh, like, I couldn't. And now she's like, oh, I want a Chanel bag. Oh, can you rip me a yacht? It's my birthday. Can you give me this? Can you give me that? Oh, I'm watching your kids. I want, give me money. Like, it's.
They deserve a little bit.
I spoil her. I mean,
yes.
Whatever.
She did birth you.
She did birth me. Whatever.
I did that with my mom too. It's the best.
What are you going to do? I mean, everybody doesn't understand what you're here to do, but that's why you have to listen to
You know why? Because she's your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah, my mom's like my biggest fan. It's very weird. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is, and I'm grateful for it all. You know, I just have to keep pressing.
Yeah. What's next for you?
TV. We're going to take this to TV. We're going to do a reality show about woman-owned and minority females in trucking that are dominating.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's happening. You see all these different, sectors,
sense.
but you never see any women talking about trucking. I mean, every time I go on a platform, they're like, well, we don't expect to see you hopping out of a truck. But I mean, let something happen out here on this boulevard. I'll kick these shoes off and back that sucker up. And I mean, that's what it's going to be.
A parallel park it.
Yeah,
with
I
one
mean,
hand on a cell phone.
I'm not that far removed from having to
Amen.
get it done. I just do it a different way now.
So the Compass Circle, how can people get involved? Who would qualify? And, where can they find it, reach out?
So my largest platform is on Instagram. It's at The Compass Circle. Our website is www.thecompasscircle.com. I would say we really meet you where you are. I have no two clients who are exactly in the same position. You just gotta want it, I have a hard time sometimes because I'm like, wow. In hindsight, I look back and I'm like, I didn't have any help, and you guys have me. Like, what are you afraid of? It's just really mindset. They're so afraid, or I haven't done this before, or I give you the criteria, and they're like, but wait, I've only been in business and I'm like, well, did I tell you that was the criteria? I didn't tell you that. Where did you get that from?
Right.
People bring all this baggage to the table that doesn't
so
even.
True. You're so right.
It's all mindset.
You're right. And the idea of doing it alone as a woman and then having you just come forward and share it, like that's where real change happens.
Oh, yeah.
It levels the playing fields.
It does. I mean, I was afraid. I'm not, I wasn't the girl that is sitting here talking to you 10 years ago. I was afraid, but you just do it afraid. You do it sad. You do it happy. You do it,
You can cry in the boardroom.
You sure can. Or, you just do it however you are. You just keep doing it.
Fun fact, Pharrell is your cousin.
He is.
Did you get Happy? Did you go dance to Happy?
Oh, God.
Clearly, I don't know. You probably get sick of hearing that.
No, he's great. We used to do a lot. I used to sing back in the day, like 20 years ago. So I would do a lot of references for him. He'd make a song for like Beyonce. He'd be like, can you come sing the song? So literally there are some songs that I still hear to this day, and I can hear my vocals in those songs.
Oh,
He'd be like, can you come sing this song for Mary J. Blige? And, I'd
Hell yes.
go, just go around with him. But I think once I kind of got more established in my business, you got to make a choice.
Yeah.
You can't be this songstress and this corporate renegade, as you call it. You got to make a choice. So
I think you chose wisely. I haven't
think I
heard you
did.
sing, though.
No.
Is your family musically inclined?
Oh, yes. Everybody can sing. Now, if they do sing, that's different. But, like, literally every time we have, like, my grandmother's birthday or Christmas, at the dismissal, all my aunts, I have, like, 7 aunts, so we all sing these like, 2 songs. And then we dismiss, and everybody goes home.
What are the songs?
Oh, I don't know the name. It's like some old spiritual gospel song, yeah.
Beautiful.
But they know it. I mean, they all went to church together, so they sing the songs, and, you just find your notes, and you
jump in, harmonize.
You jump in.
I love that.
Yeah, and then they go home. It's like 2 or 3 songs we sing every time.
I love that. I love the gospel songs.
Yeah.
Well, what else are you? So the show.
Yeah.
And then Compass Circle, which I myself will be obsessed with looking at and referring people to, and doing a better job. You've inspired me. I do need to do a better job of sharing my knowledge with the right people.
Yeah, because you have a lot of, you got the inside track. Everybody's not running for anything in any red state. Okay, that's a different.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
I bet it was.
It was crazy.
We'll have to talk off camera.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure we have some of the same experiences. I'm just here to serve, I'm here to be a light. And I've answered that call. Sometimes you're like, oh, me? What, me? But yeah, it's you. So you got to just buck up and, okay, it's me. All right, let's go. I just, I stay on the path. Sometimes I don't really know what's next. But then the phone rings.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here with you.
It's the best.
It's the best. I
love it.
I love it.
Well, I want to thank you for coming. And we're having dinner tonight. And I'm so excited.
Yes.
And then for our listeners, you're sitting at home. You're wondering, we all just came through COVID.
Yes.
You're like, I really found out that I like plants.
Yeah.
I like botanicals. I like landscaping. You start a business.
Yep.
reach out to the Compass Circle and learn how to get a federal contract with that. Or you know somebody that's making the garbage bags.
That's right.
Or hamburgers, and you're wondering how you take that passion to the next level.
Absolutely.
Or that daylight that you see.
Yeah.
And the best part is there's a shortcut.
There's a shortcut.
It's the Compass Circle. You can follow it online. Casey Cooper, Casey, right?
That's correct.
Yep, that's where you find her. Find her. Watch the show. I want to come be like a something on the show. Do tires or.
We'll have to just refer to you.
Yeah, I'll be like. I'll be the
I
banker.
love that story.
You just call and be the banker.
No, you have some inside track that we would love to highlight that. I mean,
I love it.
Women in office, that's a thing.
Yeah,
It's
you're a
not
boss
easy.
lady.
Yeah, you got to be.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going to get ran over.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Don't be scared, ladies.
Don't be scared.
Or men. We still love you.
We
All
do.
the men are here. We love them.
Okay.
I love them. Thanks so much for listening and joining us. You know where to find us. Lunch with Stormy, StormySimon.com, the Compass Circle on Instagram. Super important. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams. Casey is one that living proof that every step matters. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, and we'll see you next time for lunch.